The stories that you tell are the blueprint for your life. If you are not loving parts of your life, listen to the stories that you tell. They have lots of great information. And the wonderful thing is you get to change your stories and thus you change your life. I'm going to walk you through how to become aware of these stories that have been rolling on autopilot and you may not even be aware of, and then take you through a process where we're going to change those stories and change your life. So when I was young, we would have to do read aloud. So we would all be in a room and we would go in order and we would read aloud. And this totally stressed me out. I would get red, I would get blotchy. I had a process where I'd count to see, okay, I'll be reading this paragraph, and I would read it ahead of time. And then, I'd read it. It would be way better if they would have caught me off guard, but still I was nervous and I would get all splotchy. And so this was my pattern belief and my fear. And I took that along with me into some other parts of my life. And so if I was going to get up in front of the class, in high school and in college, I would start to get this, where I would get blotchy and I would have the story. When I get up in front of people, I get all blotchy and red and I feel nervous. And then one day I realized, well, you're not nervous. Like, you feel very confident in what you're sharing. What's going on? Like, I'm not having to read anything. I'm coming up with it. Like, this doesn't all match up. And I realized I had just drug that story along with me and it didn't apply. Yes, you get in front of others and you feel a little bit self-conscious, but I've always been a teacher. And so I felt confident in what I was saying. I was in a program with people I knew. There was no reason for my body to express itself in that way when there was nothing behind it. So once I realized it, I was able to change the stories. I didn't say anymore, when I stand up, I get all blotchy and red. I said, I feel really good about what I'm sharing. I'm confident. Yeah, maybe that was how it was in the past, but that's not how it is now. So I just started telling different stories and I would get less and less blotchy and red until, I get up and talk and I don't get that way. And if I ever do, it is really good information because something's going on there. Because this isn't my story. I am confident in when I speak. So something else is going on. So it's always great information. So now let's focus on you. So think about one thing that you want to change in your life. It could be relationships, job, money, just whatever is something that you feel stuck or you just kind of have negative or you want to up level that. So choose this one thing. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use an example of a job just as we walk through this. So think about the stories you tell. Think about this thing. What are the feelings that come up? What are some stories that you complain about this one thing? Okay, let those go through your head. Okay, now let's choose one of them. Okay, so if I was talking about a job, maybe some of the stories would be, oh, my boss doesn't respect me. Oh, there's this really irritating person. And so start thinking about this. And then let's just take one of them. And I want you to really feel into it. Allow it to be there. Completely allow. No judgment. No nothing. You're not supposed to think negative things. It's okay. Think it. Allow it. Don't judge it. And now, how do you feel? Think about how that thought makes you feel. Where do you feel it? Typically we feel negativity in our body. Where are you feeling it? And allow it to be there. It's fine. It can be there. You feel it. Let's feel it. How do you feel? Allow it to be there. No judging. Okay. Now what does this part of you want to say? What does it feel? What does it want to say? What is coming up for you? Allow it. Don't judge it. Let it come out. Okay, so let's say I'm talking about this job. Let's say somebody was just hired who has less experience than me. I've been there for 10 years. I do a fabulous job. And they've come in and I just found out that they make almost as much money as I do. So now all these feelings come up. I have feelings about that person. I have feelings about the company. I have all these feelings that are coming up. Okay, so I'm going to allow myself to just feel them, not push them away. You do not want to push away. We don't want to stay on a negative feeling forever and let it spiral, but you want to let it out and you want to feel into it. Because if not, if we're just gonna like change it to a positive thought and push it away, then it gets pushed away here, and everything that gets pushed away in here is going to come out. It's going to come out in some way that you do not want it to. So we're going to allow it, okay? And so then I'm going to start to really feel into it. So I've got this negative thought about this person, about the company, and I need to feel into, okay, what is really going on here? Okay, this is how I feel. What's the deeper desire behind here? What is it getting at? What is it triggering in me? So maybe it's, fairness. Maybe you've always had a kind of like everything really needed to be fair issue, or maybe it's self-worth. Like that really, you've struggled with self-worth, and now this is really tapping into self-worth. And so that's the real issue. And so then you question that. Did this situation that come up, does this have anything to do with my ability at work? And more importantly, does this have anything to do with me as a person, who I am, what I stand for, how I show up in the world? No. So whatever your topic is, whatever came up for you, allow it to come up, allow it to express itself, feel into it. What is it saying? And then question it. Is it even true? What is the deeper desire? What do you want? What's triggered you? What's the deeper desire behind that trigger? And that is great information. That's where we start to make the changes, and we work on the stories that are coming up. And you can find places in your life where you are filled from that, where you are worthy, where life is fair. Because if we can't make it make sense here, make it make sense someplace else. And then when you're filled up with that idea, this isn't so triggering. And then now let's let the part of you that is really can see a higher perspective, that can see maybe the blessing in this situation or this coming up for you. A lot of times, you can think of, if that's hard, if you can't connect to that positive part of you on this on this specific thing, then who's somebody that loves you dearly and only wants the best for you? What would they say to you? What do you need to hear? And a lot of times, if I can't connect, I think about God. How does source, higher power, how are they viewing me? How are they viewing the situation? And that always helps me take a higher perspective on everything. So really feel into how this feels, how this higher perspective, how it feels in your body. Take in the good information and just feel, let it expand. So I help my clients with this. If you need help in hearing a higher perspective and changing your thought, then in the description below, I'll put a link to a free resource. It's called Freedom from Limiting Beliefs, which limiting beliefs are just our stories. And so that can help you just kind of flip it, see a different perspective, start telling yourself some new stories. So what you've been focusing on, this thing that feels negative, anything negative in our life, we have to make whatever's going on, the decision, the situation, the right one, at least for now. So let's take the job. I have a choice. I can go find a new job, or if I have to stay in this one, I need to make it the right decision. I need to make it a place that is going to be a blessing in my life. I need to make it a place that is positive for me. We're in our jobs most of the day. So if I am allowing this to bother me and this to trigger me and I don't like this, and I'm constantly telling negative stories about my job, saying negative things, this is just the way it is, just me saying, this is the way it is, it feels gross. And guess what? You're not gonna just leave that there. That is gonna drip into all other parts of your life. No, we don't want that. No. Let's change our beliefs. Your beliefs are just a thought that you keep thinking over and over again. That creates your belief. So, hey, let's change them. Let's change our beliefs. So, listen to the stories that you are saying, work through them, the process that, I just went through. We're going to be aware, we're going to feel into it. You're going to allow the resource, the higher part of you to speak. You're going to be questioning, and you are going to figure out how to make your current situation a blessing. You're going to see the good because this is your choice. You want to choose a life that you are going to enjoy. If something's coming out of your mouth and you don't want to live that anymore, go through the process, change it. The link in the description is going to help you if you're having a problem with that. So we want to create a new pattern. And the way you do that is what comes out of your mouth. And it feels good to focus on things that are a blessing. You just flip it to something that works. I am so grateful for whatever is going on in that situation. Flip it to a different perspective of how for that to be the right decision, because you cannot continue to go into situations, be around things that are negative. It's never going to work out. You're just going to be in a constant battle with how you want to feel and what's going on. Okay, so whatever you have to experience, make it the right decision with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions. One of the things that I know to be true, that I've proven in my life and that I've helped others to really see, is that life is always working for us. It is working for you. It may not feel like it at all. It might hurt. It might be a complete mess, but it's all such good information for you, because typically the way life works is you get an idea, you know it's the right thing to do, you don't follow it, you go down this other path, this doesn't work out super well, you're still believing this story, you make this choice, now something a little bit more drastic happens. Like, life is always giving you information. Your dreams, your desires, you've put them out there. Life is helping you, working you towards those, but you have to be a part of the process. You have to be a positive component in getting you there. And the way you do that is you take the information that's coming up and the same process that I've just been sharing, be aware, don't judge, let it out, feel it, come from a higher perspective. What needs to shift? What do you need to look at differently? What changes do you need to make? Because life is always giving you information to move you towards your desires. If it doesn't feel good, it's because you're not in alignment with what's going to guide you to how you want to live your life. And I promise you, you can live a life that makes your heart smile. 100%. It's all about the stories you tell, the thoughts you think, the actions, what's on a loop in your head. You can change all of that. And it's all up to you, and you can do it. And this is who you are. You were made a blessing. You were made to shine. You were made with a light. You have a purpose. You are joy. We were created joyful. Think about those babies. They're happy. They knew life was for them. They would cry and expect somebody to pick them up. They'd cry and feed them. They knew life was, if I called, life would call. Now we have words. So now we use our words to allow all of the blessings to unfold. Take your subject, and we need to take some positive steps. You know what you need to do. You've had a shift. You've allowed that part of you to be expressed. You've shared what you really needed to know. You've looked into the deeper desire. Now, what's the next logical step forward so that you can allow this to move through, learn from it, and change? So let's say the job. So for sure, I'm going to be paying attention when these stories come up. I'm going to go through the process of being aware, feeling it, allowing that part to speak, come from a higher perspective, love on that part. I'm going to do all of those things. But then what else is going to help me? So I suggest a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal is going to help on every single part of your life. So Have a journal next to your bed, piece of paper, and every night you're going to write down at least 5 things that you're grateful for, and one of them has to be your job. And so you're going to write it down, but the more powerful thing to do is to really feel into each of these. Like, feel the gratitude that you have for your spouse, for your children, and for your job. Oh my goodness, what if you didn't have that job? We're grateful for that job. We're grateful. Feel it, feel it. This is super powerful. You'll go to sleep feeling this way, wake up the next morning with an intention for your job to be a blessing, for you to see the blessings, for you to feel into how grateful for you are for the whatever it is, the coffee machine, how easy it is, to get to work, for that funny person, how, you've been working there, so you got the systems down. Whatever it is, let's make that at the forefront of your thought, okay? So you're gonna continue, you've had your ahas and your shift, so you're gonna continue noticing, okay? And you're gonna continue working through the process until you don't need it anymore. This job is, you're truly grateful for your job, whatever it is, the relationship, your self-worth, whatever's bugging you, the money you make, whatever, you've now changed your stories about it, okay? And you'll just continue this process that I've shared until you don't need it anymore. You feel the blessing of whatever that is. And you are blessed and you are a blessing. That's my tagline. You're gonna see it. You see it on everything, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on YouTube. So it is what I truly feel, okay? You are blessed. You are blessed. You came into this world a blessing. And along the way, this situation happened, this belief, this world belief, this, influence came along, and you started believing those instead of how you came on this planet, how you came into this world with this light. It is still in you. You are blessed and you're a blessing. So let's live that life. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't really connect with what you're saying, then what I want you to do, I have a video where I really go into this, because this is what I believe, and this is what I've lived, and this is what I help others believe and live and transform their lives in this way. So watch this video. You're blessed and you're a blessing, and I will see you in this next video.